Your favorite DJs have harnessed the power of manifestation to catapult their careers and achieve all of their wildest dreams. Today, we're diving deep into their stories and extracting their principles so you can adopt and apply them to your own goals starting today. Welcome to Elevated Frequencies, the show that gives you access to the next level of house and techno so you can explore an elevated lifestyle. Today we are talking about my favorite topic, manifestation. Now, I heard the term manifesting probably 6 or 7 years ago, and I thought it was just woo-woo shit. In fact, my husband was one of the first people to introduce me to the concept of manifesting when he told me he actually visualized his dream girl by writing or drawing a picture of her and writing down her qualities. Now, I thought this was very cute, but I wasn't interested in anything not rooted in reality. I did not know how much I was limiting my potential and my opportunities with that mindset. Manifesting isn't writing something down 100 times in your journal and hoping it comes true. Manifesting means you're aligning yourself with a goal. Yes, you're writing it down. Yes, you are thinking about it constantly, but you're also taking action in alignment with that goal and cutting out all the rest. It is believing in the unseen and bringing it to reality with your thoughts, intentions, and actions. The example I always use is Steve Jobs, right? He didn't know what an iPhone looked like before he created one, but he could see it in his mind's eye and he manifested it into reality. So you may already do this, you may already manifest, but you just don't call it that, which is fine. In fact, a lot of the DJs I speak to don't use the term manifesting when it comes to their careers, but that's what they do. So I want to dig into some of the stories that artists have shared with me today to show you how you can use the principles and methods they've used in their career to find your own success. Now, this first story is from a conversation I had with Clarke, and it's how he took a strategic, aligned action to completely change the perception of his sound and persona, ultimately leading him to play at different stages than before at festivals. Take a listen.
I say most of this industry is based on luck. Most of life is based on, I'd say most of life is based on luck to a certain extent. I 100% agree that you make your own luck to a certain level. And right place, right time and everything like that. But like, it's a lot of, I would say a lot of it is based on luck.
Really? I feel like you just opened Pandora's box with me and I don't even, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I do want to know, you said you also make your own luck. I'm a big believer in that. So just talk to me about that part. How can people make their own luck in the music industry or anywhere?
I think it's just about being strategic. Like, let's say for instance, why have I done so much stuff with Factory 93? Okay, this is a really interesting story that me and my manager talk about, and Carlos that runs Factory 93. So 2020, I launched my record label, All We Have Is Now. We did a vinyl press of a bunch of records that came out that year. I stopped releasing music on Dirty Bird, I think end of 2018. I fired my managers at 2018, got new managers 2019, kind of did the whole like changing the Will Clarke sound from like 2018 to like where we are today. And a lot of that is convincing people that you're not who you used to be with your sound of music. And a big part of that was, how do we get on the Factory 93 stages to kind of convince people that we're not what everyone thought we used to be. So that vinyl, Ryan, my manager, was good mates with Carlos, because my manager used to be one of the biggest agents in America. So he was like had a good relationship with Carlos. And like, we knew exactly what we were doing. Ryan hand delivered a vinyl with all my music on to Carlos. And Carlos listened at the right time. We were lucky that he fucking listened. Like, how many things do you send that you don't listen to, or you don't even look at for months? Carlos listened, and he was like, this is ridiculous. I'm booking you on every show that we can. That's luck. And yes, that is strategic luck. We knew exactly what we're doing. He knew exactly what we were doing, but it worked out.
So clearly, Will doesn't use the same terminology as I do. In fact, I'm pretty sure he thinks I'm a little woo-woo, which is fine. But let's talk about what he did. So not only did Will intend to change his sound, but his public perception. So he had to make a calculated move, which was hand delivering a vinyl to the very people who run the stages that he wanted to be on. He could have, posted some manifesto on social media about how he wanted to change his sound. He could have tried to get 1 million meetings with anyone who would listen. But instead, he made one bold move, and it paid off in a major way. This is the key difference between aligned action and hustling. Yes, there is a difference. Aligned action means every move you make is connected to your future vision, whereas hustling is needlessly doing busy work to the point of burning yourself out. We all know somebody who does that. Maybe it's you. Those people are almost always on the go. They're exhausted. They're always busy. When you ask them what they're up to, they just always seem like they can't keep it together. Now, a lot of people aren't sure where to start with manifestation and aligned action, specifically the difference between aligned action and hustling. Because if you search Google or TikTok, you're going to get all these gurus telling you 1 million different methods, following a certain ritual, whatever it may be. And you really don't need any of that. It's simply not true. So I want you to check out these next clips from my interview with Kaleena Zanders about how she uses a very simple method of journaling as the basis of her manifestation process.
When I first moved to LA is when I first started to tap into like manifesting. And I remember I lived in this like 1-bedroom apartment in Hollywood, and I would just write down a whole bunch of things that I wanted, and design, and just like, I don't know, I could just see myself doing it and talking out loud, and like, not convincing people, but just sharing like so much of what I was going to be doing. And then so much so that, and I'm going to go back, but people see what I'm doing now, and they're like, Kaleena, you always said you'd be doing something like this. And I was like, really? And I was like, that's insane, because I feel like it's almost like a natural practice to just walk in to see what you want and visualize and visualize and visualize, I think I'm just discovering a lot, changing a lot. More is being required of me as far as, like I got signed to Wasserman at the end of last year. So agent now, I'm putting out more songs now, like all of these different things. I have a lot more to juggle. So manifesting and writing down goals and all of that stuff, sometimes I'm like, where am I in all of it? So what I've been trying to practice, and like I said last night, I was like, I need to refocus and feel that like grounded feeling amongst this chaos, so that I can still have this like base of like projection or whatever, just a healthy base to create from,
So we've all heard of the KISS principle, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That is essentially what Kaleena is talking about here, because journaling really is so simple. And that's why it's a part of Kaleena's practice, my practice, and so many others. Journaling allows you to clearly define what you want. It allows you to track your goals and reflect back on previous entries, because maybe goals you had 6 months ago don't align with your vision today. And so having a journal allows you to see that. It also increases the belief in the possibility of the thing that you want actually coming to fruition. And when you see that on paper, you take aligned action. Because when it's all in your head, you have your inner voices and your inner demons kind of all talking at the same time, and it's messy up there. So you need to get those thoughts out in one way or another to be able to clearly see what you want. And this was clearly the case for Kaleena, because she, refers back to this practice as she continues to manifest. She doesn't just manifest and then say, okay, I'm done. Her life is getting more chaotic and she has more abundant opportunities coming her way. And so journaling is a way to kind of sort those out and figure out what's really meant for you. Now, you can use any journal you want. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Some people do like to use prompts, and I actually have a whole bunch of prompts available in my Manifestation Resource Hub, which I will link in the episode show notes. I also have a free weekly newsletter where I have a new journal prompt come out each week. If that's something you're interested in, I'll also include the link in the description. Now, if you really want to get fancy with journaling, I want you to check out this next clip with Speaker Honey, because she has a very interesting idea of how she kind of segments her journaling. And just take a listen. She can say it better.
I have one journal that's just positive, serendipity moments. That's really cool. So it's just all the good things that happen. So whenever I'm feeling weird or down, I just look through the things that happen. I'm instantly feel better.
I'm stealing that idea.
Yeah, it's a really good
idea. That's so cool. I love that. I love that because that helps you practice gratitude too,
Exactly. Yeah. And it also helps you remember, there's so many special things that happen that line up. And I think the more that you tune into that, the more, I guess, you find abundance in your own spiritual growth or career growth or what you need to do. Cause a lot of people don't really know what they're doing. I still kind of don't know what they're doing. I almost know what they're doing, but yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, writing down all those things kind of helps you connect the dots, and it makes you realize that, it provides the through line between your amazing story. And the gratitude thing is so important for, like you said, achieving even more abundance. You have to be grateful for what you already have. So Speaker Honey is big on journaling. We talked about that in her episode, but this was my favorite tip of hers because I think it's so easy. You can even do this in your notes app in the moment when it happens, because by writing down all the good things that happened to you, whether it's an amazing latte you had or somebody let you skip the line in the grocery store or you met a really nice person, these moments can be so fleeting sometimes, so they're very easy to forget. It's much easier to remember something bad that happened to you because of the impact that negative emotions can have versus something that was small but meaningful. So feeling grateful for what you already have is a huge part of manifestation. It actually allows more abundance to come into your life. So this is a great method to kind of string together all those serendipitous moments, like she said, and recognize that there's abundance in the everyday mundane. It's not just the big moments. It's not just the big career wins or, going on a great date. It's the little things that matter. And conditioning yourself to recognize those things can make a huge difference in opening up your brain pathways to manifesting more abundance. And this tip also really is so great because it just proves that the universe wants you to experience good things. So I highly recommend trying this out, even if it's just on your phone. Now, speaking of the universe is really good at sending you signals. And when you first start your manifestation journey, it is very easy to miss them because these signals and signs aren't so obvious sometimes until the universe turns up the heat, and they are impossible to ignore. So that was definitely the case with Lucati, a DJ who almost forgoed his dream of making music because he had to finish college. But the universe put him in a position he could not ignore.
One day he's like, hey, we need to talk. And then we went to have a dinner. He's like, yo, I don't think your heart's into this anymore. I think we should go separate ways. I was like kind of sideswiped because it didn't feel that way to me. But it is what it is, right? So I kind of took that as like, all right, well, that didn't work out. I'm going to do the rat race. And I had several jobs that were of no interest to me. Like basically I was a quality assurance manager for an airplane company, car dealer. Anyways, I digress.
No way.
Yeah. So I did all that. And in that, I taught my brother everything. And he saw what happened to me. It kind of gave him this vengeful spirit of like, no one does that to my brother kind of a thing. Because I felt slighted, I'll be honest, but it was meant to be. But nonetheless, I taught him everything I knew, and I would play around with Ableton and stuff like that. And then got to the point where I was fed up with my job, and my brother's getting pretty good. And I was like, whoa, shit, dude, you're onto something.
Was that hard? That had to be hard. You had all this success, and now you're working in quality assurance, and now your brother's getting good. I can't even imagine what was going through your head.
It was not hard in like a jealous way. It was hard because it was like, I guess life is telling me this isn't for me, even though it felt like it was. Mm-hmm. And it was hard to like pull myself and be like, no, it is, dude. I had nothing to tell me that, right?
Yeah.
So,
and did you, sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
Did you feel pressure to finish school because you were the first in your family to graduate?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I took loans out, but I did get a scholarship. And so it felt important to me and then to my parents. You know, I wanted to make them proud, but so I saw him getting better, and then he got signed to Dirty Bird. And it was like amazing because it was a big record, did well. And then he started getting invited to these shows that Claude would throw. And basically, I kind of started falling in love with it again. And he inspired me to kind of really spend some time. And every time I would be at my lunch hour, I'd come home. I lived really close, and I'd work on Ableton for an hour, bounce a song, listen to it, make the changes, come back, do it again. So I was like addicted. I was back in like the mode of like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then 1 year later, I get signed to Dirty Bird. So it kind of, we helped each other.
I love this story so much because it is evidence of what I call a universal pull. And a universal pull is when the universe sends you little cues and signals, like maybe a word or phrase you haven't ever heard before, but now you're seeing it everywhere, or even like an animal, or just simple synchronicities that perfectly align with your situation. In Lucati's case, it was his brother getting into music and him being repeatedly exposed to the path that he should be taking. And instead of ignoring these signs, he followed the universe, he took aligned action, and now his career is flourishing because of it. And we love to see it. So as you can hopefully see from these examples, your favorite artists have not done anything out of the ordinary to get to where they are today. They don't have any sort of special access. They simply honed in on their goals. They took aligned action. They expressed gratitude for the journey, and they paid attention to the universe. And these are all principles that I have been preaching myself for the past 2 years because I have used them to start and 10x my own business, travel the world, lose weight, get a house, and so much more. And so I'm really passionate about this, and that's why I've started a manifestation resource hub, which again, I will put in the show notes if you want to check that out, and also a link to my free weekly newsletter that is packed with free journal prompts. So if you enjoyed this episode, of course, the best way to support the show is to subscribe here on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also give me a follow at Olivia Mancuso with 2 underscores on TikTok and Instagram. I'll see you next week.